What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So, back down here in the garage for another day of work. But before I get into the project, I do want to take this time to just thank those that have been here and have been watching and liking the videos. For those that came from Instagram that also follow me there and also like and comment and give all the positive feedback. I just want you to know that it's very appreciated, and that I hope that you stick around as the channel grows, that you'll come along with me. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the project. For today is going to be continuing to work on the Outcast garage bumper. We did a lot of the mat work in the last couple of videos, so now I'm going to focus more on the smoothing elements using the fiberglass reinforced chop mat in the fiberglass resin jelly, half-time body filler, a nice glaze coat, and sanding it all smooth and getting it ready for primer. Before I get into it though, I am going to show you what I will be using, the brands and stuff, so you have an idea. If you have a project similar to this, that you can get the products that I use, and at least you'll know what the expected outcome would be from using said products. So let me go ahead and show you those real fast, and then we'll get started. As we go into this portion of the project, we're going to be starting off with our Bondo Glass short strand fiberglass reinforced filler, fiberglass resin jelly for any small nicks or imperfections that are a result of the Bondo Glass that don't sand out smoothly. We're going to, once we have all this stuff sanded down nice and neat, we'll switch over to our half-time body filler, and then we'll finish up the whole project once everything is smooth and solid with some U-Pole Dolphin Glaze. To lay everything out, I'm going to be using my plastic mixing board, so that way all the chemicals in the fillers and the hardeners stay in their pure form and they don't soak into anything like cardboard like some people like to mix on. I got my scrapers, safety glasses, face shield for the sanding portion, random orbital palm sander, and some palm discs varied from 80 to 220 grit as we work through all the fillers. So that's everything I'm using for right now. Go ahead and jump into the work at hand. All right, layer one of the Bondo hair is down on all the areas that need it. This is a very rough fill-in starting off. It's just to get all the small divots and imperfections from the fiberglass mat. Once this gets sanded down completely, then I'll be able to see exactly where the trouble areas are, and we'll be able to facilitate that a little bit better at that point. So now, just need to wait for this to harden up and then give it a sand. I had to backtrack a little bit. I know I said I was done with the mat, but after continued inspection, there's just too much of a divot down here in the middle from where I cut that box out. So I ground all the resin hair, jelly and stuff that I put on there previously back down to the glass, and I'm going to apply new layers of mat down to fill this area in more and try to get it more level. Then I'll go back in and reapply the kitty hair. So I built this little backing plate. I wrapped it in aluminum foil and I clamped it down across the bottom just to give me, you know, a base to build off of as I build this lip back up. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock that out now, and I'll show you a little bit of the process. Okay, now that we got 2 layers of the matte down, you can see that it's slowly starting to level out the way that it needs to. For the matte laying part, this is the only part that I'm going to cover. I'll do the rest off screen. Updates on the rest of the bumper, since I have you here and I'm thinking about it. I finished up the nicks and this area where I sanded through, trimming for the headlight, is solid again and to the right conformity and shape. And this bottom corner down here is also rebuilt and restructured, which is good to go. So for now, I'm gonna keep working on this, and I'll bring you back to it once I'm ready to lay down the Bondo hair, I guess, to finish smoothing this out. So, hold tight. The fiberglass matte buildup worked out really well. I put a layer of the Bondo hair back on it and sanded that down smooth. It turned out way better than it did the first time, so I'm really happy with this now. Now I'm confident that I can move on to the next step. You may have noticed that when I was sanding, I was coming in an upward motion from this angle and a downward motion from this angle, as well as coming flat across the top here. And I know you saw the tape that was down at the beginning of the sanding part. That was to keep this body line intact, so I had a line of reference, a point of reference to follow when building this edge up, so I kept the body line where it needed to be. As of right now, body line's mint. Everything's looking good. There's some little spots in here, but all these will get filled in with the next phase of smoothing. So all in all, good to go, and I'll pick up in the next process. Alright, fiberglass resin jelly sanded down. Filled in all those imperfections that I was talking about earlier. It's all nice and smooth and even, which is awesome. Now, I'm going to go through, get out the halftime body filler, start mixing my filler, and start laying down a skim coat of filler, and then block sanding that to try to get this as smooth as humanly possible, and fill in any of these little tiny imperfections that are left over. So that's next. Okay, so before I start the next round of smoothing, I want to show you where we're at right now. So yesterday I sprayed some white primer on the areas that I worked on just to see where I was at. As you can see, I sanded all that back down. It's really, really smooth. It looks really good. I'm really happy with it. There's a couple little pinholes that I need to fill still, and that's what I'll use the glazing putty for. So that's next. You'll see I moved it to the door so that way when I start to sand again, the dust goes out the door instead of into the garage, because that's a mess to try to clean up when you don't have an air compressor. So hopefully this last round of smoothing is going to be done using the U-Pulse Dolphin Glaze. With glazing putty, you don't put glazing putty on heavy. It's meant to be just a very, very light skim coat across the areas that you worked on, just to smooth in and fill in those deep gouges or little minor pinholes that were left over from when you laid the filler and or the resin jelly. So hopefully this little bit here should cover everything that I've worked on, pending, of course, I got the measurements right and 2% versus the actual glaze. Otherwise, it's going to harden on me before I can finish, and I'll have to mix smaller batches next time to finish everything out. Okay, so the glazing putty's down. Put it in the areas that I sanded and areas that I noticed when I was sanding the whole bumper down to get the sheen away. So when I spray primer, it sticks. Like I said, I put it in all the areas that I saw. I'm sure I'll see more once I get filler primer down on these spots. But overall, the glaze is down. I'm gonna sand it off with some 320, knock it down, smooth it out, clean the bumper again, and then hit it with some gray filler primer. And we'll see how it looks from there. All the glaze is sanded down and smoothed out. I've already wiped the bumper back down again. Unfortunately, the apartment complex that I'm in turned the water off to the main line again, so I don't have any outside water source to wash this bumper off with again. So I used bottled water just to rinse off this portion here, and then cleaned it off with isopropyl alcohol just to clean up any oils from my hands during the washing process. I'm going to grab the can of primer, spray just this center portion with 1 or 2 coats, and see what it looks like. The rest of these spots, I'll worry about at a later time. Okay, so I changed my mind. I went ahead and I did the front, as I said I was going to, and it turned out really, really nice. I really love the way it looks. It turned out so nice, in fact, that I wanted to see what the rest looked like. So I went ahead and washed down by hand all the areas that I did work on and sprayed them down as well. And overall, they all turned out really nice. Being in the apartment building here, I don't really have access, like I said, to a water hose, which that's unfortunate. But it is what it is. So until the rest of the wide body, till the wide body kit itself comes in, and I take this in to get it professionally painted, because I'm not going to paint this with rattle cans. I don't think it'd do it justice. I guess I'm done. So with that said, thanks for tagging along, and I have a couple things lined up to occupy my time till the wide body arrives and I can start fitting it. So, as always, like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.